it for granted. I was sitting on my sofa yesterday watching Netflix. I was going on and watching Netflix, really relaxed in the evening. And then suddenly my wife comes and stands right there. She looks at me, she looks at the TV. Again, she looks at me, she looks at the TV. So I'm like, what's going on? What happened? And then she just gives me a look and then goes away. I'm confused. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I go and ask her, what's going on? And then she says, with a look towards the dishwasher. I'm like, oh okay. I just forgot. I mean, if you wanted me to do dishes, you should have told me, right? She says, do I have to tell you everything? You got to do it. You can't just take me for granted. Then I understood what is the meaning of taking it for granted. And it opened my eyes up. I'm like, all right, I need to know what you are thinking before you even think about it, and then do it before you even say anything about it. That's where you want to be, right? Take it for granted. You cannot take anything for granted. And that's where I learned the meaning of take it for granted. So then it allowed me to think more about what are the different things that we take for granted. And there are so many things that we take for granted. And I'm thinking about it in my mind, and then I think about the planet. We take it for granted. The air, the water, the soil, the earth, and the food that we get from this planet, we take it for granted as if, well, we are going to have it for our entire lives. But that's not true. That's not true at all. The whole capacity of the planet is only 10 billion people, and right now we are 7.8 billion people in this world. So how do we take it for granted? So I started thinking, my thoughts started coming up again, and I'm like, how many times have you thought about switching off the lights when you don't need them at your house? If you have not thought about that, you're taking your air for granted, because the more you waste your energy, the more CO2 you're burning in the air. So you're taking the air for granted, right? Water. How many times have you just left the tap open while you're brushing your teeth in the morning, every day, right? So you're taking your water for granted. How about earth? How many times have you seen every day how much plastic is going into the trash rather than recycle? Have you ever thought about that? No? Then you're taking your earth or your soil for granted, because everything is going in the landfill and your earth is filling up with trash. And that trash is going to remain. It's not going to go away anywhere. And so you are taking your earth, your soil for granted, right? How about food? You're taking it for granted because you're getting it easily, but tomorrow there'll be food shortage. You won't get it easily, right? There will be more fish, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish by 2035. Your glass is only 10 billion people. The earth can only handle 10 billion people. And you're already at 7.8 billion. So you're taking the resources for earth as granted, taking it for granted. So why I want to bring it up is because the thought process that came up in my mind, that's very powerful. I mean, we are taking everything for granted, and we are not thinking about the Mother Earth. But our planet cannot come back to us and stand behind us and say, with that look, saying that, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, it just cannot do that. And that's why we, as much as we need to, and we will keep on abusing it until it will give up. And then where do we go? We will be like that movie WALL-E. Have you ever seen WALL-E? In that movie, you see bunch of trash. The air is all polluted, and there are no people living on this planet Earth, and everybody is living in a spaceship. Think about it. Even one small act from you every day of just putting the plastic in the recycle rather than in trash will allow you not to take your Mother Earth for granted. And it's extremely important that each one of us do that in order to save this beautiful planet that we have. So that's what I want to say here. Thank you.
So let's go and save the planet Earth. It's the only planet we have. We need to preserve it.